fund. I recently met up with Novartis. Novartis has their own venture capital fund. So I think that there is a huge amount of opportunity in this sector. And of course, as a bank, we do look at mature stage companies. And I'm proud to say that most of those companies which are mature sized companies are already present here, and we have been banking with them, and we continue to enjoy a sole banking relationship, including companies like TCG Life Sciences. We started our association with them in 2003 as early as they set up. And we continue to enjoy a great relationship, and we are happy to be partnering with TCG Life Sciences, and I recognize the presence of Swapan here. Yeah, so as I have already explained you that who are the panel, we've carefully selected the panel. We have Dr. Shani Sharma, we have Sanuj, we have Rajesh, Dr. Sutindu Mukherjee, Anand, and Atul Sai. So, we have five investments people and 2 companies. And I'm sure you will find that, their inputs are very valuable at the end of the session for you to actually, absorb some of those things in your business plan to make your success rate of raising fund more better. Yeah. So I think what we are trying to achieve out of this session is, what are the investment firms looking for from the life sciences industry in India, in particularly from the biotechnology sector. So I would want each panel member to actually reflect on this for 2 minutes, and so that we get some perspective. What are the key things that they look when they are investing in life sciences companies, especially biotech sector? So I could start with my right, Atul. Sorry, not Atul. Dr. Sunny Sharma. Atul represents a company, so I will probably hold him later. Yeah. So Sunny, you would like to give your comments on this?
Yeah. So just as a background, I think most of you probably have heard of OrbiMed, and I've met many of you as well. So we are a healthcare-focused fund, and that's all we do. So we look at everything pretty much within healthcare, and I would classify them broadly as cash burning or non-cash burning companies. And there are obviously hybrid models involving services and products. So we're open to looking at pretty much all of these different models, and it just so happens that despite all the good things you mentioned in your introductory remarks, it's a relative paucity of companies in terms of true products which are differentiated and more on the service side. So that's reflected in the mix that we see as well. But I think we cover pretty much everything within healthcare.
Sure. So now let's hear from Dr. Sutindu Mukherjee, as he comes from a global background of investing in life sciences early stage companies.
Thanks, Vishal. Firstly, I agree with Vishal that there is no dearth of funding in India now, especially from the national agencies and international organizations like the Trust, the Gates Foundation, and all are working in India. What we basically look is that you should have a smart scientific idea which can be translated to or make to a commercial proposition. What in totality we look when we fund a program is 60% you have to have a strong scientific credential into it. And the remaining 40% you should have a clear exit strategy, your business plan, your IP route, and a clear regulatory pathway if that is required in that program. We don't differentiate between an SME or a large company. We have experience in funding large companies also. We have big experience in funding SMEs actually. 60 to 70% of our funding goes into SMEs. And again, we don't look into the size of the SMEs. We have examples to show that we have funded SMEs as small as 2 companies operating out of a garage environment. But the bottom line is we look for a good science idea. You have scientifically your credentials, your idea has to be fundamentally quite strong. Then you should have a clear-cut way forward to it, that the IP strategy, the business exit strategy, and the regulatory pathway. Thank you.
Yep.
Rajesh Rai from India Innovation Fund. We invest in early stage innovation-driven companies. The question is, what do we look for, right, before investing? I mean, we're looking for people who are, in it to build a business. First, we see a lot of teams where it seems to be an extension of the lab. It's like, I couldn't get it done in the lab, or I can get some money here and it's commercial money, but it's an extension of my lab experiment. So we are not looking for that. So we're looking for people who are going to build businesses. We would like to look for complete management teams because one-man shows are difficult, especially in India, because it's difficult to attract talent, entrepreneurial talent early. You don't have the money. Whoever you're attracting is saying, look, I'm getting paid 10 lakhs, you give me 15, I'll come. I don't really care about the equity. So try to get some good co-founders. So teams, co-founders, trying to build a business. And you may have a plan which has visibility into IPO or whatever else, but can you create value in 24 months timeline? And do you have the team to do that? So that's kind of what we look at while we're investing. So we are looking for value creation in 24 months. And we're looking to be able to support the company's burn for that period of time. So we might get some co-investors to help us do that if we don't have enough capital. So that's kind of what we're looking for, good management teams who are solving problems that somebody cares for.
Sure. But I think 20, if you're really funding a pure biotech company, because
what I'm saying is from our perspective, it's like a relay race.
Sure.
Right?
So
you can't, if you don't create value in 24 months, you haven't created in 26, right?
I know.
So as a startup, you have to persevere, you have to look long term, but you also have to say, what can I do in 24 months? Do I have the team to do this? Like, for example, something in terms of taking a company from 1 million to 2 million or 5 million is maybe a different type of competence than taking it from 5 to 20. So you're not expecting that the team will be so complete that they can take it all the way, right? So, but do you have enough competence to do that? Is what we look at as investors, as early stage investors.
Yeah. So I think from the strategic segment point of view, it'll be more of a services-led companies, which will probably can give you some sort of a value creation and
yes and no. I mean, not necessary. So for example, if you're saying, I'm going to get services, but my customer acquisition cost is so high that I might get a $50,000 customer, but it might take me a long time, and I don't know whether there's repeatability. I'd rather have you go to a second phase of creating a drug, right? If you can do that, right? So it's a balance. Just services. Early on in a company, you have what I call bad revenues. So there's good revenues and bad revenues, right? So try to not get into that bad revenues that much, just for the sake of it. I mean, if you create value, which of course somebody has to value, right? People will come and other investors will come. The other thing is, I think there is enough funding, I think, but still not enough funding.
But there aren't fundable proposals, correct?
No, there are fundable proposals, but there is, I'm scared about what happens next, right? There is, kind of the value of death, right? So I fund it to a certain extent, and then what happens? I would say the larger investors also, I think, should come a little earlier and look to fund a company through its life. Right? So
I know you're pointing towards Sunny. Huh?
Yeah, I'm pointing towards Sunny.
So synergistic. Great.
Anyway.
So we have Anand, and Anand, we'd like to get your perspective on what you look for when you invest.
I work for the government of Singapore commercialization arm. The organization is called Agency for Science, Technology and Research. It's a $5.5 billion group. Our funding comes from the government. I generate about one startup every month, and my goal is to promote at least 2 companies every month. So that's my goal. So my team members are also here in this audience. Right now, I manage a portfolio of about 40 early stage companies. And most of these are started off from an idea, from a thought, which probably made sense from a commercial business proposition. And then we filed a patent. I think the one thing that we do very well in Singapore, and which probably has worked well for us, and which applies even in the Indian context, is you got to file a patent. Immediately, the way immediately you think of an idea. And so at least you have to do some pattern intelligence studies,